Hey guys, how you doing? I'd like to spend some time here. It's probably gonna be one of the longer videos, but one of the longer blog posts as well that's associated with this video. I'd like to talk about the one of the defining moments in my life that at the time I did not know was a defining moment. It was basically the active shooter that happened, active shooter situation that happened at the Washington Navy Yard in 2013. So basically, I was working in the building where the shooting occurred, or where the active shooter was. I was basically started that new job at the Navy Yard, and actually was enjoying myself. I'd only been there for a little over a month, and just kind of still getting to know the people in the office, still learning the ropes of the job, and just trying to figure out where I fit in as far as in the grand scheme of the organization that I was in. So I remember vividly, it was at my desk. It was a Monday morning. We typically have a staff meeting Monday mornings around I think right 9 o'clock or so, 8:30, 9 o'clock. So I was getting my notes ready for that. I was at my desk, and the way our office situation is that we had cubicles, but it was in sections of cubicles. So our office, all of us were grouped together on the same team in that same little clump of cubicles, and you had a main doorway that kind of entered into the main hallway, and we were on the first floor of the building 197, there at the Navy Yard. So I had just gotten some coffee, got back to my desk, and as I was walking back, I saw a janitor walking by with one of those big trash receptacles. So it kind of factors into the story later on. But so I just noticed that they're collecting trash early on Monday morning, which I thought was kind of weird, because who has had a chance to throw away any trash by 8:30 on Monday morning? I mean, I'm getting in my first cup of coffee, so it's not like I'm going to throw that one away. So anyway, I got back to my desk and checking my email. Like I said, get some notes together for the staff meeting that was going to happen in a few minutes, and then I heard pop, 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 and it sounded to me like the janitor had dropped one of those metal trash cans on the floor. So I thought it was just the trash can bouncing around or something. And then a couple seconds later, I hear a lot of commotion in the main hallway, and people are yelling, and I heard someone say, "Shots fired, shots fired," and I had no idea what that meant. And I actually thought to myself, okay, whatever. And the cubicle next to me, there was a commander, I forget his name, but anyway, he popped up over the cubicle wall and repeated, and just basically was staring at me, yelling, "Shots fired, shots fired," like he expected me to do something. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, I guess, I'm supposed to be doing something, but I don't know what I'm supposed to do. I guess that means that there's someone out there with a gun shooting rounds off or something. Is this something that normally happens? Like I said, I've only been there for a little over a month, so I don't know if this is something that happens on a quarterly basis, or if this is like a drill or something. So I was like, okay, do I get underneath my desk? I don't know what to do. And then immediately after that, people in our office were running around trying to figure out what to do. I think we all got corralled into the captain's office, because it was farthest away from the main door, and he had the biggest office, and there was probably about, I don't know, 12 of us there, so we all corralled in the captain's office, and the captain wasn't there, so he didn't really mind. But one of the civilian workers, who was a retired Marine officer, he said, "Hey, I'm going to go out there and close the door to the main hallway, and just lock it and just kind of barricade ourselves in here." So after a few minutes of just kind of sitting in the captain's office, and we were pretty cramped, like I said, it was not that big of an office. It was about the size of a normal, normal office situation. But someone said, hey, we could probably just sneak out if there's actually a shooter here. We could probably just sneak out since there's a fire exit, and we can make ourselves, get ourselves to safety and go across the street or something. So we all, I actually ran back and grabbed my hat, because every good officer needs their hat. So I grabbed my hat. I didn't grab anything else, and went followed everybody else outside the building, and we waited out across the street in the parking garage. So at that point, I didn't think anything of it. The way the building was situated is we have entry points, and you have like turnstiles essentially that you have to scan your card to go through. Obviously, you can jump over them, but immediately after the turnstiles, there's a couple security guards that are there, and they're armed. So I didn't think much of it. I figured, okay, some crazy, disgruntled worker is probably taking his or her frustrations out on the world and decided to come in with a gun. So I'm assuming they would subdue that person and have the situation under control. So we're all just kind of sitting out there, just kind of chit-chatting, waiting for everything to get back to normal. Thinking we'd be back in our office, within 20 or 30 minutes tops. Then about 5 minutes later, I see more armed security guards, and these guys were heavily armed. They had assault rifles and flak jackets and everything. They were running towards the building, and I remember looking at one of the security guards' face as he was running towards the building. He was telling all of us who were waiting there across the street in the parking garage area to get away from the building. Like, this is not a safe place. You need to move and get out of here. At that point, that's when I realized, oh gosh, this thing is not. This is not going to be pretty, and it's not going to take 30 minutes to figure out. So that's when I pulled out my phone. I called my wife and I said, hey, just so you know, there's something going on here at work. I'm not sure what it is or what's going on, but there's someone shooting the building here at work. I'm safe. I'm moving away from the building, and I'm going to turn my phone off because I don't know how long this is going to last, and I wanted to save my battery because I didn't have a charger or any of that kind of stuff. So at that point, I think my wife, later when I talked with her, she said she could sense that I was really scared. I didn't feel like I was scared. I think I was just kind of just trying to get away as fast as I can. I was kind of short, had a little bit of shortness of breath, trying to get away and talk at the same time. So as soon as I hung up from her, I think that's when I started realizing, okay, well, maybe this is some kind of terrorist attack or something. I'm not sure. I started thinking of it wasn't quite September 11th. It wasn't a religious holiday of any sort. So I was like, okay, well, what kind of terrorist would decide to attack on this day? It's just basically plain Jane vanilla Monday for everybody. So I thought it was going to be like a coordinated attack, and the way the Navy Yard is situated, there's tons of buildings and small streets and alleyways. It's pretty much an industrial area. So these buildings are 5-6 stories tall. So I'm thinking, okay, there's a few dozen of us people walking towards the food court, and now I'm looking at the top of these rooftops to see if there's any snipers that might be picking people off, because I don't know what the hell's going on. And I think at that point, that's when I realized I think I might be in trouble. So that's when I really got scared. And you can read about the rest of the experiences in more detail in the blog post. But I just want to put this video out there, just to kind of give you an introduction and to kind of lay the foundation for the story. I'll break this up into 2 different posts, 2 different videos, and then kind of talk about what I was thinking about and what I felt during the situation, especially during the time we were waiting to go back home. So, like I said, read the rest of the blog and get a little bit more in detail of what happened. Like I said, I'll post another post or two to recount some of the things that happened. But like I said, this was a pretty significant event in my life, and you know, just to recap, you know, you can look it up. I'll post a Wikipedia link of the shooting, but I think there was like 12 people that died that day, to include the shooter. I think 12 or 13 that didn't have to die, obviously. But pretty sad day, pretty scary day, and we'll talk to you more later about it. Bye.